Langaw. If you're planning to pursue guidance and counseling as a profession, there are different essential skills na dapat nating matutunan at dapat nating ma-practice along the way. Sa pagpe-prepare para sa isang counseling session, you have studied and you have learned about the different knowledge pagdating sa personality ng isang tao and at the same time, the different counseling techniques. Natutunan din natin kung paano ang iba't ibang uri ng assessments and yung iba't ibang intervention techniques na dapat familiar ang isang guidance counselor. Itong mga skills na ito are essential sa practice ng isang guidance counselor. Pero hindi ito sapat para magkaroon ng maayos at established na counseling relationship between the counselor and the client. Don't get me wrong, kailangan natin siyang matutunan at ma-familiarize, but it will not be sufficient enough in establishing a better counseling relationship kung wala itong iba't ibang necessary skills na dapat i-possess ng isang guidance counselor. Hi, my name is Arkin. I am a licensed counselor and psychometrician. And today we are going to talk about different basic skills of a guidance counselor. In conducting counseling sessions with a client, hindi lamang dapat yung counseling techniques ang familiar and alam ni guidance counselor. There are also basic skills that a guidance counselor should be familiarized with in establishing a better relationship with the client. Now, just a disclaimer before we continue, ang mga babanggitin kong skills are not the absolute skills. There are a lot of different basic skills that a guidance counselor should be familiarized with. And kung lalatagin natin lahat, it will take so much time para sa atin na ito ba yung dapat kong aralin, ito ba yung dapat kong i-possess and what not. And I also remember with my mentors and my professors before, itong mga skills na ito is not telling us that every skill that are mentioned in different literatures and different studies, kailangan lahat possess ito ni guidance counselor. Remember, we are human beings. And being a human being, marami tayong limitations at marami tayong hindi pa nadidiscover sa ating sarili. But it is a very good guide to be well aware of ano ba yung mga dapat na skills that a guidance counselor should practice, should take into consideration. And another thing, hindi ko rin sinasabi na itong mga skills na aking babanggitin are the best skill that a guidance counselor should possess. There are certain skills that a guidance counselor might possess while not being possessed by another guidance counselor. At hindi ko sinasabi na kung hindi mo possess ito, you are not efficient enough. No. That is not the case. What I will be telling are the different skills that we need to consider in our practice as a guidance counselor. Sounds good?
Okay.
Now let us go on to the different basic skills. First is empathy and compassion. So empathy by definition involves understanding what someone is experiencing through the lens of their unique experiences instead of through your own frame of reference. Ito yung sinasabi natin na inilalagay mo ang iyong sarili doon sa pangyayari o doon sa karanasan ng iyong kausap. Ito yung malalim na pagtingin ni guidance counselor sa pinagdadaanan ni client. But also, empathy is more than just knowing what is the client is experiencing, but looking into what the client is feeling, thinking, and behaving on their particular circumstances or experiences. Now, on the other hand, compassion means taking care action to alleviate someone's suffering. Now, compassion is the action that is being provided to the client so that they will not only feel that they are safe and they are being felt by the guidance counselor, but also the action of showing that the client is being understood and looking into the different circumstances na pinagdadaanan ni client with the help of the different techniques that help them to find solution to their certain circumstances or providing different resources para kay client to help them find resolution to their particular problems. Now, the next skill is active listening. So, what do active listening means? Active listening requires for the guidance counselor to not just only hear the other person and then speak, but also considering the emotions and the thoughts that accompany what the person is saying and ensuring that they are understood. So, active listening is not only listening to what is the client is saying, but letting the client observe that you are paying attention to what really they are saying and looking into the different emotions and thoughts that may be behind those statements that the client is saying. Hindi lamang ito yung pinapakinggan mo si client sa kanyang saloobin o sa kanyang pinagdadaanan, pero tinutulungan mo si client na i-process yung kanyang pinagdadaanan, and at the same time, you can summarize what they are saying or what they have said during the counseling session and help them to reflect on the statements that they have said and asking corrections or clarifications sa client based on what you have summarized summarize during your session. Next is adaptability and flexibility. Every clients are unique in their own ways, and no two people have the same exact circumstances na kanilang pinagdadaanan. At dahil walang parehong eksaktong pinagdadaanan ng dalawang tao, there is no single and absolute solution for every circumstances that a person face. And because of these situations and circumstances, guidance counselor should be flexible to the different circumstances that the client is facing with their everyday problems. Kailangan si guidance counselor should be ready to adjust their techniques and their approaches sa different problems and situations na pinagdadaanan ng isang client. And at the same time, hindi lang dapat flexible si guidance counselor with these circumstances that the clients are facing. Guidance counselor also need adaptability in these situations. We are all familiar that guidance counselors are studying different techniques, and if you are going to recall some of the videos that we have mentioned, guidance counselors approach these circumstances holistically and finding necessary techniques that will be applicable to the different problems or situations sa pinagdadaanan ng isang client. Therefore, guidance counselor need to be adaptable with the different skills and at the same time, adaptable to the different circumstances na kinakaharap ni client. Next is the good communication skills. Now, in addition to the first skills that I have mentioned a while ago, guidance counselor should possess a good communication skill pagdating sa pagharap sa kanyang client and at the same time to the other people and professional that a guidance counselor are encountering. Good communication skills include both verbal and non-verbal communication. So, pagdating sa verbal skills, it includes the manner of speaking, the choice of words that you are going to say to your client, the modulation of the voice, the emphasis on the message that the guidance counselor would like to say to the person, the appropriate language to use in different certain circumstances of the client, both in written and in spoken manner. So, hindi lang dapat magaling na speaker si guidance counselor, but guidance counselor should be also a good writer. The other form of communication is the non-verbal communication, which I believe is a necessary skill na dapat matutunan ni guidance counselor. People sometimes communicate with actions more than their words. We are familiar with the saying, action speaks louder than words, which in the practice of counseling and being a guidance counselor is much more evident because when someone is saying something to a guidance counselor, the way they look, the way they behave, and the way they act with their body language is sometimes telling much more meaning than what they are actually saying. So with that, guidance counselor should be well aware with these different non-verbal cues, and at the same time, they or we also should be aware of our own non-verbal cues. Sometimes, dahil hindi natin napapansin ang mga bagay-bagay that are around us, we might be saying that we are okay, but the tone of our voice, the way we shake our hands, the way we walk, the way we sit down may not be as what our words are telling us. So, it is important for guidance counselor to learn these non-verbal cues and at the same time, the consistency and congruency of what are actually saying versus what people are behaving or what they are showing. Next is critical thinking and problem-solving abilities. Mahalaga ang critical thinking in helping the counselor to help the client with their circumstances and predicaments that are happening in their everyday lives. Critical thinking helps the counselor na i-assess yung situation ni client, to understand yung perspective na pinagdadaanan ni client, and to identify yung mga underlying situations and issues na nagko-contribute doon sa pinagdadaanan or doon sa predicament. Now, when these underlying issues are determined by the counselor and with the client, dito na papasok yung problem-solving skill na meron si counselor. Because clients may have difficulty in identifying the different solutions to their problem or solving their own problem, which is probably one of the reasons seeking help with a counselor. Nandito si counselor to assist the client in identifying these issues and looking for the solutions with the different problems that they are experiencing and what will be the applicable resources that could help the client in identifying the different solutions that will be applicable to their problem. Counselors also help the client to look for a long-term solution sa kanilang pinagdadaanan, so that when the client goes out of the counseling session, they will have the different resources, both internal resources and external resources na pwede nilang i-manage or i-seek out when they may be facing the similar situation na kanilang pinagdaanan why they have reached out with a counselor. So basically, guidance counselors are not only helping the client to look for a short-term solution with their problem, but also helping the client to seek out for a long-term resolution with their particular circumstances and helping them realize na kapag pinagdaanan nila ulit ito in the future, they will be much more capable and ready with the different skills and resources that they have learned from the counselor and with the counseling session that they had. Another skill is confidentiality and trustworthiness. Now, this not only goes for counseling. Trust is a value na ating pinapahalagahan for us to feel safe with a particular person or with a particular situation na ating pinagdadaanan. We always wanted to feel safe, and as a counselor, it is important for us to help the client feel that they are safe when they are talking to us and sharing these circumstances and problems that are experiencing. So with that being said, guidance counselors are bounded to establish a good rapport with the client by establishing a trustworthy environment as they are talking into and getting into the counseling session. I know mahirap na skill ang pag-gain ng trust sa isang tao, especially when you started as a stranger to a particular person. But it is important for a guidance counselor to help this client to make sure that the environment that they are going into, especially during the counseling session, is a safe space with what they are going to talk about and what they are going to share as the counseling session progresses. Now, alongside with the trust, confidentiality is very important with the practice of guidance and counseling. Now, guidance counselors are bounded by confidentiality and privacy pagdating sa sessions at pagdating sa information na napag-usapan nila with the client. So basically, confidentiality includes ensuring na hindi ma-share sa kahit kanino ang personal information and the information that the counselee entrusted the counselor during the counseling session. But there are also limitations pagdating dito sa confidentiality and privacy na we are going to look into on next videos that we're going to have. But if there will be harm na magiging involved, causing harm pagdating sa client, causing harm sa counselor, or causing harm sa people that are involved with the client, there will be a break of the confidentiality because we do not want to cause harm pagdating sa client or to the people that are related to the client. But basically, guidance counselors are bounded to help the client feel safe and at the same time ensuring that the client's information will be kept confidential and will be kept private. Next skill is patience and understanding. Now, as a guidance counselor, we will be encountering different kinds of clients. Now, some of them may not be as responsive or some of them may not be as quickly adaptive with their particular circumstances or the solution that they will be applying to their problems. Meron tayong may encounter ng mga client na slow-paced ang progress. Meron din namang fast-paced ang progress. And as a guidance counselor, it is important for us to consider these different capabilities of the clients that we're going to have. And I know that there are times wherein we get frustrated na bakit hindi agad nagre-respond si client dun sa approach or dun sa counseling technique that we are implying. Bakit hindi agad nagre-respond si client dun sa counseling session. We are always encountering that circumstance. As guidance counselors, kailangan nating tandaan that every client is different and the way that they cope up with different circumstances are also different. As guidance counselors, we need to show them compassion and we need to understand and be patient with the counseling process that they are going into. We may be facing ups and downs pagdating sa counseling process, and I'm telling you that it is okay. But what we have to remember is, as a guidance counselor, we need to show them that we are there to support them and assist them with the different resources that they need for both the counselor and the counselee to achieve the counseling goal. Another skill is resourcefulness and knowledge. Now, being a guidance counselor, kagaya ng nabanggit ko kanina, we are skillfully trained to be a problem solver. Now, with regards to the problem solving skill, it is also connected sa problem solving skill ang pag-reach out sa different resources na available to achieve the counseling goals between the counselor and the client. Now, these resources can be both internal resources and at the same time external resources. Now, internal resources are the capability of the client to cope up with the different situations and circumstances that are natural and they already possess that just need enhancement and development. Now, external resources on the other hand, so ito yung mga resources that are available within the environment of the client. Now, lifelong learning, professional development, and community involvement are some of the ways na pwedeng itap ni guidance counselor for them to develop and increase their knowledge and resourcefulness pagdating sa kanilang practice or pagdating sa ating practice in becoming a guidance counselor. Next skill is respect for diversity. Bilang isang guidance counselor, we are encountering different clients and people from different walks of life. And being a guidance counselor, we should also look into the consideration of where do these people coming from? Ano yung kanilang mga backgrounds? Ano yung kanilang mga achievements in life? At yung kanilang mga certain situations that are experienced with their everyday lives. As guidance counselors, we always consider yung kanilang socioeconomic status, their race, their gender, their sexual orientation, their ethnicity, their religion, and these different characteristics and traits that they have. So as a guidance counselor, we should always remember that we need to demonstrate the respect for their diversity by listening, empathizing, and helping them to address the different circumstances that they have or providing them resources and referrals if they need to when it comes to the needs that they look and seek into. Next is advocacy and support. Now, as a guidance counselor, we are basically advocating for the mental health literacy and mental health awareness para sa ating mga clients, whether it is catering for the students, for employees, or the other sector of our society. Now, why advocacy is important for a guidance counselor? In our profession, it is relevant for us to speak out for those people who are having difficulty in expressing or voicing out their concerns. And with the practice of guidance and counseling, we are agents of change and we are advocating for empowerment pagdating dito sa mga tao who cannot voice out their concerns sa majority. And our chosen advocacy helps us to deliver this necessity para ma-address itong mga concerns ng hindi biniyayaan ng opportunity to speak out and voice out what they really need pagdating sa kanilang social pressing issues and concerns. And advocacy helps to collaborate with the different people and agencies that have the same advocacies and passion in helping others with similar vision and with a similar mission that they have, why they are advocating for these people or with this group of people in the first place. If the client knows that you are advocating for such causes, it will be an avenue for a much more establishment of rapport and knowing that the client can be also empowered with the help of the guidance counselor. And of course, support is needed when it comes to establishing a relationship with the client to a counselor. Again, having a safe space for the client to share their thoughts, their problems, or even what they are feeling and thinking to a guidance counselor is showing a support doon sa pinagdadaanan ni client at dun sa mga solutions that the client is experiencing. With this support, the client is empowered to look into the different resources that they have, and the mere fact that they are empowered to think for the solution on their own problem is showing a support ni counselor sa kung ano yung kakayanan ni client at maybe yung mga people that are around the client. Showing advocacy and support to the client and also to the counselor empowers and help both of them, especially the client, to access the different resources and opportunities for them to grow professionally and personally. Next skill is boundaries and self-care. Now, naturally, the guidance counselor's profession is extending their help towards the clients who are in need. But it is also important na dapat alalahanin ni guidance counselor that we are also people and we are experiencing different challenges and limitations pagdating sa ating practice and at the same time in our personal lives. And boundaries help the guidance counselor to set marks when to stop and when and where to deliver these services pagdating sa kanyang clients in across the setting that they are serving. Boundaries are also meant to help the guidance counselor in maintaining a distance between the client and the counselor. Boundaries help to manage and establish a professional relationship and professional distancing pagdating sa kung ano yung dapat na nai-involve si counselor sa buhay ni client. It also sets the counselor kung ilang oras ba dapat nami-meet ni counselor ang client, ilang beses ang dapat na session or gaano katagal umaabot ang isang session, and setting limitations and boundaries pagdating sa gaano katagal dapat nami-meet ni counselor si client para matulungan niya na magkaroon ng reflection si client on their own, and at the same time, makapag-cater pa ng ibang client si counselor within the working hours or within the professional hours na meron si counselor. And more importantly, self-care is very much important sa practice ng guidance and counseling. Boundary is one. But basically, when it comes to the practice of self-care, na siguro yung iba sa atin feels guilty because we are neglecting our own care, which dapat hindi nangyayari. It is a skill that a counselor should learn. How to take care of themselves for them to cater other people. Personally, I believe that self-care is important. And I also believe in the saying na you cannot give what you do not have. Ano ibig ko sabihin doon? If you yourself is not healed emotionally, physically, mentally, it will be a hamper sa establishment of a better counseling relationship with your client. If you are sick, if you do not feel well physically or emotionally, the counselor or we counselors could be vulnerable with the different health problems na makakaapekto sa ating practice. I know some counselors are really working hard for their advocacy and their profession, and I am one of them. And also, I feel guilty when talking about self-care because kailan ba dapat alagaan ni counselor ang kanyang sarili? Kapag ba sobrang pagod na siya, exhausted na siya, burnt out na siya sa kanyang trabaho, which should not be the case. And self-care is important not only for the clients but also for the counselor para ma-prevent natin itong mga predicaments and itong mga nangyayaring burnt out and exhaustion pagdating sa ating profession. And the last skill is leadership and collaboration. Now, I have been given an opportunity to talk about leadership and leadership skill during the past PGCA National Convention. And my opening spiel on my facilitation of a workshop is, counselors are leaders. I know some of us have been terrified with the idea of leadership, na na-associate natin ang leadership sa designation, sa position sa ating organizations, and leading a particular group of people under our supervision or subordination. Well, that is just one aspect of leadership. As a counselor, we are leaders with our own ways. How did I say so? We are leaders naturally by our guidance and counseling services that are being offered to our clients. We are supervising our services and maintaining the effectivity and efficiency of our services na kinikater. Another is acquiring the authorization and endorsement sa ating mga school leaders and administrators, and communicating with these people and showing that our services are essential and necessary in our respective organization is also a form of advocating and leading our services towards our client, which is a sign of a good leadership. The clients will perceive us to be leaders of our own services and helping them to advocate for them. Now, with that being said, a leader cannot do things alone. So, as leaders of our services, guidance counselors are naturally collaborating with the different people. Napag-usapan natin ang konseptong ito when it comes to the referral service on the previous video. iCard again! dito sa side na to. And guidance counselors naturally work with different organizations and different professionals, both in internal and external professionals, to better assist the different needs of the client. Working with different organizations and professionals helps the practice of guidance and counseling to be much more efficient and to help develop certain interventions and programs for the different clients that they are serving. Now, madami bang skill na dapat matutunan ni guidance counselor? Well, yes. But kagaya nga nasabi ko kanina, hindi naman ibig sabihin na dapat lahat ito possess ni guidance counselor. There may be some of these skills that the counselor may not possess, but it is a good thing na dapat familiarize si guidance counselor na dapat subukan ko na gawin itong skill na ito because I am extending my service to clients, and if this will be helpful para kay client, then why shouldn't I practice this skill? Now, if there are other skills na hindi ko na-mention dito sa sa video na ito, please let me know in the comment section down below and help us to advocate kung ano pa yung mga dapat na skill na dapat matutunan ng isang mental health professional to help them grow professionally in their practice. If you wanted to learn more what is guidance and counseling, ano itong profession na ito, and who are the guidance counselors, check out the videos and playlists that I will be providing in the description down below. Comment down below your thoughts or ideas sa mga different skills na dapat familiarize si guidance counselor, or you can share your experiences pagdating sa guidance and counseling profession, kung ikaw ba ay nag-aaral bilang isang guidance counselor or if you're going to take the licensure examination. By the way, I'm wishing luck for those who are taking the licensure examination for guidance and counseling this August 2024 as per the recording of this video. Let me know in the comment section down below also kung ano pa yung mga topics na gusto nyo pag-usapan about guidance and counseling and the different subjects in guidance and counseling. Hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you will never miss the next uploads and next videos. It's good to be back. Maraming salamat sa panonood. Stay safe, spread awareness, and start change. This is Arkin, and again, I will see you on the next video. Bye guys!